Welcome to the Official Personality Guru. The real-life famous ISTJs are just as exciting and inspiring as their fictional counterparts. ISTJs have introversion, I, sensing, S, thinking, T, and judging, J. Preferences and their dominant cognitive function is introverted sensing or SI. This means they are organized people with rich internal worlds and logical thinking. They're also curious about how various systems and mechanisms work and love to do things right. Moreover, the ISTJ personality type has a strong sense of duty and moral value, always looking to find the most practical solution to the problems they face. As fictional characters, the ISTJ type has the necessary traits to cover a wide range of fictional tropes. Therefore, depending on the author's perspective, the ISTJ character can be a leader, a scientist, or even a villain. The trait that they all have in common is the determination to be the best they can be. Today, let's talk about fictional ISTJ characters. Before we start, make sure to subscribe to the Official Personality Guru and ring the bell icon to get regular updates on our latest uploads. And if you like this video, click the thumbs up button and share it with your friends. Who knew there were so many fictional characters who are ISTJ? According to the Myers-Briggs MBTI personality test, ISTJ is one of the more common of the 16 personality types, accounting for 11% of the population. An ISTJ is someone with introverted sensing, thinking, judging personality traits. ISTJs tend to be honest, direct, strong-willed, dutiful, and practical. On the flip side, ISTJs can seem stubborn, insensitive, judgmental, and by the book. Who are the best ISTJ fictional characters? Which ISTJs in TV and film do you love? Among the notable ISTJ personality characters, Ned Stark and Hermione Granger stand out. Meanwhile, Thorin Oakenshield or Rick Grimes exhibit how ISTJs are often practical introvert characters. 1. Mai, ISTJ from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Dominant function introverted sensing or SI is a very personal function that can be seen as a form of self-expression. However, this is not in the same sense as the FI function. Mai as an SI dominant is a perceiver first and therefore not like the ISTJs in need to establish guidelines and rules and follow them implicitly. SI dominance is much more personal and individual than people often stereotype. Mai is taking in concrete information and the moment of what is around her and reflecting on the ones that apply to what she cares about. What we see her care about is Zuko. It is why she has such a strong memory of their history and things about Zuko. She doesn't care about her place in the aristocracy of the Fire Nation and therefore doesn't have the same type of recollection of things related to her position in society. Even working with Azula, she does so cause she is bored, but she doesn't care about catching in the Avatar. It is why she doesn't get into the mud. She will help but not at her inconvenience. It is why her TE can be hard to see. DJs use their secondary function to implement structure to the things they care about. If she doesn't care about finding the Avatar, you aren't going to see much of TE. Hence, why she can seem more aloof a lot of the time and it doesn't seem classically ISTJ to be so. Because SI is so personal, Mai can easily be insulted by criticisms. We see this when Zuko calls her bland and uncaring. She cares deeply for Zuko and there is so much depth to her. But this isn't seen externally because it is so internal. Auxiliary function, extroverted thinking or TE, part of her dissatisfaction with her life is that she doesn't extrovert herself very well by implementing her secondary function of TE. She leads so much with her SI that her subjective priorities are so internalized, she doesn't realize how individual she is. She doesn't blend with Azula or the Fire Nation in its current state, but she internalizes herself so much, including her feelings for Zuko, that we don't see her express this sense of self a lot with TE. Tertiary function. Introverted feeling, or FI, this function is about unconditional human values. When FI becomes overused due to a lack of developing TE like my, we see an ISTJ that stands illogical firm on their ideals. This is the stubborn side we get from my when she is in a functional SI-FI loop. We see it most whenever she argues with Zuko, but we also see it when she disagrees with Azula. When Mai lets Zuko go, she is using TE, but she is using FI in her stand against Azula. We see her as unshakable at this moment, no longer following Azula, but using her sense of unconditional human values, she won't let Azula's ambition hurt the ones she loves. Inferior function, extroverted intuition, or NE. Her inferior function pulls against her dominant SI. Her SI sees things as they are now attracted with an inner meaning, but NE sees the patterns in the external world. This causes Mai to be quite cautious because accepting the outer changes of the world feels like a threat to her person if this NE function goes out of control too much. Zuko's rebellion against them all being in the Fire Nation together scares her. Circumstances make sense for him to leave, but this outside change feels like a personal threat against her. It is why she blows up at him for doing things out of her control. 2. Ben Wyatt from Parks and Recreation. Dominant function, introverted sensing, or SI, Ben Wyatt not only prefers dealing with concrete data of numbers and facts, but he loves it and made a career out of it. He loves working on the detail of accounting. SI also takes in information at a very personal level. For Ben, these are the nerdy aspects of life. He knows the Game of Thrones in and out and can tell you the smallest details about it. Meanwhile, he has huge knowledge gaps in other areas. This astounds any dominant. Tom Haverford a lot of the time. It is because SI specializes in the knowledge they recall. As an ISJ, he doesn't find the outside world to be rational and sees it as an ever-changing opposed to TE principles. SI focuses on personal priorities. These priorities are unconditional. For Ben, those things include his hobbies, Leslie, and his work. This is why Ben Wyatt craves a sense of stability in his life. He wants to find a home with Leslie and chooses to stay in Pawnee rather quickly over continuing, traveling and moving from place to place. Leslie is a priority. This also is in his professional life. His integrity and fiscal responsibility are essential to him and therefore are unconditional principle in his work style. He takes in all the information at hand with SI before making a decision or any changes, assuring his integrity and fiscal responsibility are not impeded. Ben, with dominant SI, is more open to new ideas and change than his exterior impressions suggest. As long as you have a strong and logical argument for change in the workplace or something else, Ben will hear you out. However, he isn't going to change course if you just feel something isn't right. He needs to examine things from every angle. He pores over every document, reading word by word. It is why when he missed the clause in the data collection agreement in the final season, he was so upset with himself. Because he doesn't do that. He doesn't trust his NE of getting the gist of a situation. This is also what makes Ben seem so stubborn to his co-workers. Once he has made a decision, it was made looking at every angle, and he will stick to his guns. The best example of seeing his SITI combo in actions is his creation of Cones and Dunshire. The game is incredibly detailed and reflects his interest in board games or SI. He then constructs rules, objective rules in the game that people must follow. It is a step-by-step style game. It isn't D&D style where it is open to interpretation but has strict TE ways of playing. Inferior function, extroverted intuition, or NE. This function in the inferior position makes it hard for Ben to accept changes easily. It is why Ben is so cautious with the personalities like Tom, April, and Andy. They constantly spring changes on him that Ben feels compromise their integrity, their lifestyle when he moves and misses the bigger picture in Ben's eyes. Their lifestyle ruins the structure of how living should be. He sees April and Andy lacking discipline, and to be fair, they put their mail in the freezer. The point, though, is this living arrangement is an ISTJ's worst nightmare. Ben doesn't go through a function loop, though, and utilizes his secondary TE function. He helps bring order to April and Andy's lives. He doesn't take their lifestyle as a personal assault on his SI values but sees objectively what is happening and is more than happy to help with his TE. Just like he was more than happy to help Tom with his finances. April and Andy, being perceivers, needed the helping hand of a judger in their lives. How about you? As an ISTJ or any other personality type, who do you think you would be as a fictional character? Be sure to watch until the end and share your experience for a chance to have your comment pinned. 3. Javert from Les Miserables. The dominant function, introverted sensing or SI. This gives Javert a strong sense of inner priorities and a strong sense of responsibility for these priorities. Javert finds a social role that works with these inner priorities, unlike the ESTJ which works the other way around. Javert tries to make the outer world adhere to his inner world of what is right and wrong. His SI gives him a subjective sense of how things should be, instead of using extroverted functions to see things in the outer world. Javert stays within his SI rather than referring to strict legalities. Before we continue, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to give us a like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the Official Personality Guru for more amazing videos. Don't forget to ring the bell icon to stay updated with our content. The system TE has failed him in the sense of how things should be created by his SI. So, he must make the world align with his inner self. Not only does he have a strong sense of responsibility for this, but it is intertwined with his identity and sense of internal reality. For him, sticking to his guns and hunting down Jean Valjean is the only way to maintain and prove that the world functions how he has imagined it to in his inner world. Because these are such deep and held personal beliefs, he sticks to them beyond what might seem rational. TE. SI is what also makes Javert deal with concrete facts and what he sees in front of him. He doesn't deal with the reasoning behind Jean Valjean's crimes, but the fact that they are crimes. No matter the reason, meaning, or intention, the fact is Jean Valjean committed a crime. This isn't to say that he doesn't deal in the gray area, complexities, and etc., but that he perceives information important to him in the form of facts, numbers, memories, and etc. That is what he is comfortable with. That is his language. Javert is just so in his narrative, neglecting his extroverted functions to the point of trying to enforce his inner ideal on the world around him, misusing his TE in order to deal with his inability to cope with his inferior function of NE and preserve his sense of self. It is his sense of honor and integrity that he is trying to uphold, and he doesn't see the unreasonable or controlling side of his behavior.